Well, it's that time of year again when we ask local advertisers what they think about the past, present, and future of economic conditions and their marketing budgets. What do you think they're going to say? We'll find out in 30 seconds.
Welcome to Corey's Local Marketing Minute, an enlightening and entertaining look at what's happening in the world of local advertising and marketing. Corey's Local Marketing Minute is brought to you by Adcelerant.
Adcelerant provides best-in-class digital advertising solutions. Our proprietary technology covers your entire sales funnel, from proposal creation and campaign launch to monitored performance. We collaborate with local media companies and agencies to deliver excellent customer service, sales support, campaign management, and more. As an industry leader, we'll go above and beyond to ensure your success. Unlock your digital advertising potential with Adcelerant.
Hello, everybody. As you can see, we're still in my home studio. We will be back in a proper studio very, very soon. But for now, you've got this. But you didn't click on this video to talk about my house and my lovely flannel. No, you want the results of the Borrell Business Barometer. But before we do that, a little housekeeping. There are things you should do. And I know I say this every time, but damn it, I'm serious this time. You should subscribe. You should like these videos. You should comment on these videos. And you should probably clean your dryer vents. They get gross. Okay, back to the barometer. In case you didn't know, or you forgot, or you just don't care, which I find highly unlikely, the barometer is a series of questions which are asked of our SMB panel. Those couple hundred of local advertisers we keep asking questions of. How a panel works. Anyway, we ask them the same 4 questions every quarter. And we've been doing this for a while, so now we can start looking at trending not only quarter to quarter, but year over year. That's important because we try to limit their scope to either 6 months looking forward or 6 months looking backward. So let's jump into it. Let's start by examining their questions about the past. Specifically, the question was, read along with me, over the past 6 months, do you think it's gotten easier or harder to sustain a small business in the US? And the answers were easier, harder, same, no opinion. You know what I feel about no opinion people. So let's look at what they said. Now, all these charts are going to be set up the same way. Most recent data is at the top, the oldest at the bottom. See February 24 at the top, February 21 at the bottom. What I think is important in this is that red, and that red is the percentage of local advertisers who say it's gotten harder in the past 6 months. It's been exactly 50% for 3 quarters now. We've never seen that kind of steadiness. But because we're asking them to look in 6-month hunks or chunks, hunky chunks, whatever. Because we're asking them to look in 6-month time frames, it helps us to look at year-over-year trends too. So that's what this next chart does. Same information that was on that last chart, but now just February to February. Got it? Look at the pattern. It went from 56% to 51% to 56% back to 50%. Kind of its own little February cycle now. So one could say things are just a little less bad looking backwards than they were 1 year ago when we asked them to look backwards. It's kind of a double negative getting you to a positive kind of a thing. Now let's move on to the present. The question is, how would you characterize the current economic situation in the US for sustaining a small business? They could answer excellent, good, fair, poor, or don't know. If you don't know, then why are you in business? Never mind. Let's see what they had to say. Going back to February 2021, on the bottom there, and yes, we don't have information on August 2021. There was a glitch in the system, but that's in the past. What you have here, blue signifies good, the red is fair, and the gray is poor. And you see 27% of local businesses saying it's good, 52% say fair, 19% say poor. Talk about consistency. Look at the good numbers for the past year, going back to February of 23, all bouncing around 25%. That means 1 out of 4 local advertisers say that the present economic conditions good. Okay, let's look at year over year. So, in a way, this is the most positive February we've had, with 27% saying good. And the ones saying poor have been steadily going down year over year. But to be fair, overall, looking at the present situation is about the same as it was last year at this time. No better, no worse. What about the future? Well, we have 2 questions about the future. One is about the economic conditions and one's about marketing. Let's look at the economic conditions first. So here's the first question. During the next 6 months, economic conditions for sustaining a small business in the US will get better, stay the same, get worse, or I have no opinion. I swear, people, Anyway, here's what they had to say. The first thing that should jump out is the steady decline of red quarter to quarter. Back in May of 2022, we weren't very hopeful. 51% said it's going to get worse. Drop that to now, 23%, with 18% saying it's going to get better. And when you look at it year over year, it looks like this. Again, 18% saying better, 23% say worse. That's actually the best outlook we've had since February of 2021. And if you remember back then, we were finally done with the pandemic. But there was a lot of hope looking out over the next 6 months. So, this is better than the last 2 years. There's that. And finally, the last question we asked is about the future, but it's about marketing. So we asked, over the next 6 months, my business will spend blank on advertising marketing than it did over the past 6 months. They could answer more, about the same, less, or don't know. Here's what they said. More is on the left-hand side, less is on the right-hand side. So we had 23% of local advertisers in February say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to spend more in the next 6 months than I did the last 6 months. Now, when you look at this, of course, seasonality comes into it because there might be people who only advertise in summer, yada, 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 etc., etc. That's why looking year over year is important. And my goodness, look at that consistency. 22, 24, 22, 23. Same with the guys who say they're going to spend less. So no matter how their outlooks for the economy have changed year over year, their outlooks for spending are pretty damn consistent. So what does all of this mean? Well, here are the 4 takeaways I think you can take away. When we consider the immediate past, looking back 6 months, local advertisers in general think things have been less bad than last year. So that's something. Their present situation they view as about the same as last year. However, when looking forward, optimism is increasing, pessimism is decreasing. Granted, not by a lot, but some movement there. And finally, the spending outlook looks about the same as it did last year. To sum up, local advertisers are more or less in the same place in their head they were last year, but they're daring to be positive about the next 6 months. And almost a quarter of them say they are going to increase their advertising spending in the next 6 months. Yay them. And that's a heck of a thing to say going into a presidential election year, where traditionally we've seen things get a little wonky. We'll do this barometer again in May, when we'll look at these results again and look at people who said better, worse, same, or no opinion. I swear, people, when you take a survey, have an opinion, for the love of God.
You've been watching Corey's Local Marketing Minute, sponsored by our friends at Adcelerant. Learn more at adcelerant.com. Remember, if you'd like to hear more of Corey's insights, check out the Local Marketing Trends podcast. Just Google Borrell Podcast or look for the podcast link on BorrellAssociates.com.